I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. I'm James Martin. I've been designing landscape gardens for commercial and residential properties in the southeastern United States for 27 years. Today we are at this beautiful Bayou Texar home in Pensacola, Florida, where I have designed a magnificent 360-degree experiential garden. Come along with us today as we show you this magnificent garden in all of its glory. It would surprise many people to know that my garden design techniques have been created solely by me. I have no formal education. I didn't finish college. I simply dropped out of college, had a 1994 Ford Escort with a trailer hitch and started cutting grass. And then one day this lady asked me if I could landscape. I've always had a passion for landscape design, landscape gardens, and it probably goes back to something with my grandparents and farming and gardening and growing things and appreciating the fruits and vegetables that we got from the ground. So what I did was develop this term called experiential garden design. I was very frustrated because there was always a stop in the landscape gardens that I would see and visit, and it was very abrupt. It was a subconscious stop, but it still stopped. So my concept was to create something called an experiential garden design where you're constantly flowing through the garden, constantly flowing through your thought processes, constantly flowing through different plant material and flowering and seasons. This project is a prime example of an experiential garden design. Let's take a walk. 360-degree experiential garden design. That is my thing. I want my clients to be able to walk through their gardens and forget everything that has happened in their life for that day and solely focus on the experience that they are having at any given moment in their garden. This side of the garden is shade-loving. We have variegated ginger, we have sasanquas, Japanese yew, farfugium, irises. And when we transfer down to a lower level, we'll have more sun-loving plants. This is all about the client's experience. It's all about the guest of the client's experience, and it's all about anybody that comes through this garden, how they can forget about everything that's going on in life and solely focus on a blooming flower or a beautiful piece of foliage. I have traveled the world looking at some of the most beautiful gardens in existence dating back 1,000 years, and I have brought every one of those concepts back to Pensacola, Florida, and the panhandle of Florida, and all over the state of Florida. What you're going to see here, this is a utility side of the residence. It has electrical, it's got generators, and everybody would think, let's not do anything there, but I disagree. There's more to a landscape design than just putting pretty plants in the ground. There's vertical element, there's scale, and then there's architectural element, which you're seeing right here. This beautiful evergreen vine of Confederate jasmine, and I've designed this beautiful Kumaru lattice, and it fills in, and it's blocking all the electrical. And then on this side, we have a huge generator, and we've blocked it out. Just because you have a utility side of your residence or your business does not mean it can't be beautiful. This lovely corridor that I've walked around from the residence, and now it's going to open up into this big, beautiful driveway that allows all the guests to come in and visit with my clients. And then we have this beautiful dissectum Japanese maple as a cornerstone of this beautiful garden and the entrance to this 360-degree experiential garden. I absolutely love color in the garden. That's why when I design a landscape garden experience, I make certain that everything is blooming in the garden at all 4 seasons. Whether it's black-eyed Susans in June, in July, or it's sasanquas in October, or japonicas in December, January, February, or it's the beautiful agapantha in May, there's always something blooming. We can also add seasonal color. My primary focus in my landscape design technique of building a 360-degree experiential garden is to make certain that there is something blooming year-round. Obviously, in some seasons we have a greater bloom. The springtime in Pensacola, Florida is spectacular. However, there are other times of the year when it's extremely hot or extremely cold. We can still have flowers blooming in your landscape garden. Coming up next, I'm going to sit down with Dave Clark and talk about this project, talk about his experience, and talk about how he feels about his garden design today. I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. I'm here this morning with Dave Clark. He and his wife Cynthia own this beautiful garden and this beautiful home here on Bayou Texar. Thank you for being here with me this morning.
Good morning.
The gardens are absolutely magnificent.
Well, thanks to you.
Well, I appreciate
Gulfside
that.
Landscaping.
Absolutely, and I have a great team that manages your gardens and keeps everything trimmed and maintained and beautiful. It's the middle of summer right now, the dead of summer, and everything looks absolutely beautiful. The grass is green, the flowers are blooming. What is your favorite part of this garden?
I'd have to say the favorite part, as you would call it, the 360-degree experience, because this is a big lot, 9/10 of an acre, several hundred feet on the water in Bayou Texar, as you said. So it takes a unique perspective of the landscaping. And you designed, and we approved, the 360-degree brick paver path that goes all the way around the entire house. So instead of just having landscaping in the front and pine straw in the back, we have landscaping 360 degrees around the house, and that by far is my favorite part.
Fantastic. I remember the conversation we had, and you making a couple of comments. Do we really need plants back here, James? We're not going to come back here. And I said, I think you will once I get this design, this 360-degree experiential garden. I coined that phrase several years ago because I wanted people to be able to enjoy their gardens like rooms in their homes. Basically, the 360-degree experiential garden is where I create a system of walkways and paths that allow you to constantly tour the garden in a continuum. So when you walk down the grand staircase, and if you take a left, you go back up a pathway of stone treads and pavers, and it takes you to basically another room of the garden. And I think it turned out fantastic.
It really did. We have lots of events here, a lot of social events, and every time people want to go walk around the entire house. I mean, whose other house do you ever do that to? Let me go see your backyard landscaping. Never. So this has truly been a lot of fun, and as you said, it's like another room of the house.
So at nighttime, the LED low voltage landscape lighting comes on that we installed that accents the entire garden, the complete 360-degree experiential garden walkway. How does that impact your time at night in the garden?
Well, in the evening it's fantastic. Rather than just sitting around the house, you can sit outside on this great back porch balcony. You can walk around the house. It looks like a resort in the evening. I know there's over 300, maybe 350 individual LED lights that you put in or you had installed around the entire house, and in the evening it's just awesome.
I love to be able to bring people into the gardens in the evenings, and landscape lighting helps with that. The great part about your landscape lighting is it only costs $1 per year to operate those fixtures. We don't have these great big halogen lights that are shiny lumen. It's just all accented. And I think that makes it more appropriate in the evening rather than having these blaring halogen lights.
Yeah, it's not hot lights, it's not glaring lights, it's down lights accenting the foliage around the entire house. It's really fantastic.
When we initially installed this project, the city required that we have a retention pond in the back to catch stormwater runoff. This became very problematic. It never dried up. It was a complete eyesore. So we have this beautiful garden and this complete eyesore of a retention pond in the backyard. Tell me a little bit how you felt about that, what led us up to the drainage solution, and if you're happy today.
Well, I'll answer the last question first. Yes, I'm very happy today. It's a great project, but it took 3 years of just having to live with a retention pond that, in my opinion, was unnecessary. We have a large house with a big roof line, and the city wanted us to drain all the roof line down to 10-inch pipes and then to 8-inch pipes like it was a commercial retention pond in some commercial setting, and it clearly is not. But we happily complied because we're on the bayou. We wanted to retain all our own water. But the retention pond that they made us ultimately dig out, which you dug out, never did drain. I'm right at water level, so it was wet and muddy and bred mosquitoes and all kinds of trash, and it was terrible eyesore for a couple of years until your team came up with a plan to replace it, which we just did this past spring, just a few months ago. Dug it all out, filled it with sand, filled it with rocks, filled it with, you'll have to explain it exactly how that works, but it works, and it's all covered up, and so we achieved the same goal that the city wanted, but with a more aesthetically pleasing effect.
Just to reflect back on the project, nasty retention pond had to be there, collected water, never dried up, came up with a system of chambers. It's an underground drainage system. We actually have a greater capacity to hold even more water. As you'll see when Mark does the drone footage, it's completely covered up and everything is underground. The grass is green. There's a lot of area that can be used now by your grandchildren and by guests from your parties. And
oh, absolutely. We have a big backyard area between the house, the grand staircase as we call it, and the water, and it was just a big mud pit for several years, and now it's just a beautiful garden. We're really appreciative.
The grand staircase is another one of my absolute favorites. It probably gets the least amount of attention, but it had so much detail put into it when it was constructed. We went to Alabama, we picked out stone treads. We picked out the stone so that we could have stone treads made. Every tread on this property and on your house has a stone piece that was manufactured for that exact position. How happy are you that we went with the stone treads rather than just doing a standard brick tread?
The stone treads are very unique, as you said. They're quarried in Alabama. I think you call it bluestone. Bluestone. It has, I think, some iron ore in it because it has iron ore elements that you can see. So it's very unique. And the staircase I know has the stone treads going all the way up, and each one of the tread and riser are again lit up at night. So it's fantastic.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you went ahead and you and Cynthia both decided to do those stone treads because I think it made a huge impact on the overall visual aspect of the property.
Absolutely.
My last question, what made you choose me to design your project and Gulfside Landscaping?
When my wife and I bought this lot, which I think was 2016 or 17, so it's been a while. As I said before, it's a big lot, has a lot of water frontage. We knew it was going to take a unique house with unique landscaping. You couldn't do one without the other. I didn't know you, I'd never heard of Gulfside Landscaping at that time, but I asked around and I was given the addresses of some of the landscaping that you have done around town, residential and commercial. And my wife and I, Cynthia and I, went around and looked and took pictures and asked the people that had the landscaping done in their house. And they all said that it was you, and I remember giving you a call through our builder, Kyle Watson, and the three of us came over here and visited about your vision for this, and it coincided with my vision. So it was a great combination. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for allowing Gulfside Landscaping to manage this beautiful garden, and we appreciate your business so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. Earlier we were talking about this ugly retention pond that was back here in the backyard, making the entire backyard unusable. Well, now I'm standing on flat ground, and Mark's going to be showing you some drone footage of the before and how it was completely unusable. Now I'm walking on the grass, and it's a huge pallet of turf grass for guests, children, grandchildren to walk and play and roam. It is absolutely remarkable how we were able to take and maintain the stormwater runoff from this property, put it underground into an underground chamber system, and maintain all the stormwater runoff on this property and still have usable ground. The importance of these chambers is we have this beautiful lush green lawn, and we're still maintaining the water capacity or the drainage capacity that we need to take all the stormwater runoff, not let it go into the bayou, and maintain it on this property. These are commercial chambers, and if you live on a waterfront and you have to have a retention pond, we can get rid of that retention pond for you. This is an amazing system. It is very, very strong. You can actually drive a truck in this backyard over these chambers. And I think we're gonna cut to a picture of one of these chambers for you so you can see exactly what we're talking about. This is engineered system, City of Pensacola approved. Any municipality will approve it. Let Gulfside Landscaping put in your drainage system. I talk about gardens all the time. And drainage is so important. Without the proper drainage, you can't have a successful garden. You can't have plant material that wants to be in a relatively drier soil be saturated in water. So when I design a landscape project, first and foremost, I take into consideration sunlight. Second thing is, what is the water runoff? What is the water that's going to be produced by stormwater? And how do I get rid of it without affecting any neighboring properties? This chamber system allows me to create an entire drainage system for this property, create beautiful gardens, and maintain the stormwater runoff on this exact property without affecting any water source around us. A well thought out and well planned drainage system prior to the execution of your landscape garden installation will allow your garden to thrive for generations. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. Any beautiful garden landscape, it's important to make certain that your hardscape materials are aligned with the existing architectural style of the structure that's on the property. Frederick Law Olmsted was the father of American landscape architecture. He utilized stone in a lot of his projects, most notably his work in the Smoky Mountain National Park, Central Park, and of course the Biltmore in Asheville, North Carolina. This technique, through my travels, I've studied, I've looked at how he combined the different materials together to come up with an absolutely beautiful product. I wanted to make something absolutely beautiful, absolutely unique here in Pensacola, Florida for my clients here on Bayou Texar. We had this beautiful, massive grand staircase coming down to Bayou Texar and into the backyard. How was I going to make this staircase different from any other staircase located in the vicinity or even the southeastern United States? Number one, you cannot have too many conflicting hardscape surfaces. Some people will have concrete, then pavers, and then a tile, and then maybe throw in a brick, and then they'll have maybe another color paver. So what we've done here is I have three different surfaces in the hardscape. I have the pavers that go all the way around the house to create the 360-degree experiential garden design. They also are in the driveway. I have utilized them on this grand staircase, but also have thrown into the mix a vertical element which matches the brick on the residence, and the final piece of this element is a stone tread that has been quarried out. As a landscape designer, it's my job to bring all of these materials and all of this composition together to create harmony. When designing this grand staircase, I didn't want steps going all the way down without a pause or hesitation, simply for safety concerns and for aesthetics. This beautiful stone was quarried from North Alabama to create these extraordinary stone treads. This is something that was done around the turn of the 20th century, and you still see it in some larger metropolitan areas. Up in New England and even out west, you see a different technique utilizing stones and treads. When you combine the stone tread, the vertical brick rise, and the brick paver like we have used in the driveway and the sidewalks, we have brought this entire landscape project together in this one grand staircase. When I have a site that requires retaining walls of some sort, a lot of people tend to go with more trendy blocks and blended colors and different colors of block, and they really want this stone to shine out. I am not of that theory. These are utilitarian and purposeful walls that are necessary to hold back soil, to hold back the foundation of a house. If all I ever did was design trendy products to go in the garden, they're going to have a time limit. They're going to have a time frame which they're only purposeful for aesthetically. So what I choose to do is go with a neutral block, which is a simple gray block, and Mark's going to show that to you. And then I can cover up the facade with what's called creeping fig. This is a green, some people call it ivy. It's not a true ivy, but it's a creeping vine. And it grows up on the wall and creates a beautiful green facade in the summertime, springtime, and depending on the temperatures in the south, can get a little burn back during the winter time. But overall, you get an inexpensive block that has the purpose of holding back the soil, which is what we need. We have avoided a trendy look, and we have a utilitarian, purposeful wall covered in creeping fig for a green facade that is absolutely timeless and will last through multiple generations. But as you will see, the product and the end result is absolutely mesmerizing. There's not another staircase around like this beautiful grand staircase. Just like the grand staircase, I minimize the hardscapes all over this property. So if we're going to use stone, we're going to have the same color stone everywhere. If we're going to use pavers, we're going to have the same color paver everywhere. And if we're going to use wall block, we're going to have the exact same wall block in the same techniques. So what we've done on this 360-degree experiential garden is we've created a walkway using the same pavers that we have in the grand staircase as well as the driveway. It creates a cohesiveness and a continuity that is visually appealing to the eye. There should never be a stop with your eye in the landscape garden. The key to picking out the proper paver is color neutrality. Again, it goes back to continuity and flow. We don't want some paver that really just sticks out and it takes your mind off of the beautiful flowers in the gardens that you're experiencing. However, we do want a paver that blends in and is aesthetically pleasing. So it's so important when you're picking the color to make certain that it coincides with the architectural style of the house, it coincides with the surrounding area and the gardens. This particular walkway and driveway paver I chose as a three-piece. Now I go an extra step. I like to see it tumbled. The tumbled effect just knocks off the edges and makes it a little more irregular. Again, old world European look, something you would find in an old street in Germany or Italy or in Paris even. So go the extra step, get the tumbled paver, make certain that the paver is not too loud and also coincides with the color of the brick or siding as well as any other surrounding hardscapes. I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. Concrete versus paver. What are you going to choose? Concrete, in general and standard practices for concrete installation in a residential driveway, is 4 inches in thickness. Most use a reinforced concrete. However, the fact of the matter is, here in Pensacola, Florida, your concrete's going to break. It's just the way it happens. Water erosion, soil compaction, it doesn't matter, concrete breaks. So why do pavers get chosen over concrete? Well, when you replace concrete, you have those sections that you can see where they have been repaired. But when you choose pavers, when they sink, they don't break. So all you have to do is pull up the affected pavers, recompact the area, limestone, sand, put your paver back down, and it's reset again. Versus the concrete technique is where you have to go in, cut out the broken section of concrete, frame up, and then re-pour the new section. What happens is you have an aesthetically unpleasing view of your concrete. So while it is absolutely more expensive to put down pavers in your driveway than it is concrete, the longevity in the aesthetically pleasing view is far greater with pavers. When given a choice between concrete and pavers, the long-term solution is always going to be pavers. They can be fixed, they can be repaired, they can be raised, they can be leveled. Concrete just has to be cut out and re-poured and never looks good. And in the end, in 20 or 30 years, it's going to look like a patchwork quilt. Pavers do not. Thank you so much for joining me today to watch this magnificent project come to fruition. Located on beautiful Bayou Texar, this property has an experiential garden that will knock your socks off. 360-degree walking experience around the entire property throughout the gardens. Everywhere you go, there's a different look, and then there's something blooming 365 days a year. It has been wonderful to showcase this extraordinary garden project. You want one of these garden projects at your own home or your business, give my office a call today and let's talk about your vision and my vision for your space. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality. I'm James Martin. I've been designing gardens along the Gulf Coast for the last 27 years. Whether it's landscape drainage, hardscapes, driveway design, retaining walls, whatever it is, I meet with the client, we discuss your project, discuss the property, the architectural style of your house, and everything that will coincide and complement the architecture of your home. Let Gulfside Landscaping make all your outdoor living dreams a reality.